The Optris infrared pyrometers come either as a single piece unit or in the more high-end models in a two-piece, where we have a die-cast box, the infrared sensor, and a great number of outputs available on the from the box. And today I'm just going to show you fitting a USB kit to the unit. Being die-cast, of course, the box is very rugged. We have a digital display on the box which can be programmed to turn green or red or blue, and that changes to determine the status, or at least to display the status of what the thermometer is doing. So you could set a threshold at which it turns to red, for example. So we have a number of options in here where we can plug in different boards. We have 4 to 20 milliamp analog out, etc. But as I say, today we're going to fit the USB board to it. Which is nicely done, just with dual inline pins. Like so, and that simply plugs into the board. Now, just a small piece of errata, I ended up ordering the wrong board to go into this infrared thermometer. So here's one I prepared earlier, but it's the same idea. I just ordered the wrong one. So I'll show you this one, which is another that we have in stock. Along the bottom, as I mentioned before, there are several outputs and inputs, including the ability to simulate a thermocouple. We have function buttons that you can activate. Normally power is supplied here, normal instrument power 8 to 36 volts, etc. So the cover simply screws on. The unit comes with a USB output, and it's quite a clever one in that it's got both USB-C and an adapter to plug into a PC directly. So it's available, there's software available for both your phone and for your PC. So we plug it in, that immediately powers up. And as I mentioned before, we can select various thresholds for which the temperature changes. So if I point that at myself, we can see that it turns to green. And if I have a hotter object, I can make it go to red if I can find somewhere hot enough. Probably not at the moment. But I'll show you that momentarily. And we'll have a look at the software on screen as well to see what you can do with it. So the Optris infrared pyrometers are proper industrial instruments. This is all die-cast. They're made to be rugged. The sensor itself, depending on the model, can stand up to 180 degrees C. So we have these in all sorts of factories, from foam to food. I thought I would quickly show you the software that comes free with the unit. It's called Compact Connect. And it really does open up the functionality of the device. Now, the software can be loaded both onto a phone for free and onto a PC. I'll just let that load up. Depending on what mode you're in, I'm going to use USB in this case, obviously, but it can output onto 4 to 20 or a number of other other outputs. So it's scanning through, it's finding that there's only one device on there, and it's opening COM port 8 now, and 3, 2, 1, there we go. Now, amongst other things, the claim to fame is that the camera, the infrared sensor, is extraordinarily fast. One of the demos I've seen is dropping a ping pong ball past the infrared device, and it reads that quickly. We can output this to CSV, of course, or do all sorts of things with it. I've pointed up my cup of tea, and we can see we get a much higher read. I should drink it before it gets any colder than that. If I stop the live tracking and then go into setup, we can do all sorts of things with it. We can set emissivity, which we'll come back to on a separate production. We can set transmissivity if we're pointing through a window, and we can set things like the output. So in this case, we're outputting via the USB, but we've got a couple of channels where we can output digital or analog signals. We can have it simulating a K-type thermocouple, or we can have it outputting 4 to 20. We can have it outputting, there's a lot of options there. So if we select various alarms, we can change the color of the display based on what it sees. So we have alarm 1 set to 30 degrees C. Let's raise that slightly. Let's make that 35 degrees C and 40 degrees C. That'll do for that one. So we'll see that the display is currently green. If I point it at myself, it gets warmer. And if I point it at my cup of tea, we get hotter again. So it's a very fast responding, very accurate, very good infrared thermometer. And as I say, we have these in all sorts of environments that anytime that you don't want to or can't touch an object, it's a perfect solution. So when you're thinking about your process and you need highly accurate, really true industrial thermometry, talk to Home Machines about Optris.